perfectly appropriate for President-elect Trump.
All right, that one's coming up, all right? If you don't want to wait for us, though, you can actually go ahead and start ordering there. But we have two very special pieces. We're going to start off with the first one, and this will truly be a rare piece in your collection. Mike, I'm going to let you jump in and get this going.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, this is a 1999 coin. I know it says Martha Washington 1759. The N and N pattern, and I'll explain what the N and N means here in a minute. This is, they consider this originally an R7 variety. I believe it's actually going to be an R4. R7 means less than 6 in existence. Okay. I know there's more than 6 in existence, but there's less than, I think, 25 in existence of these. What they did is they had to check the composition of the Sacagawea golden dollar that they were about to start making in 2000. And so to do that, they had to make several different patterns of the composition. And they did this by striking this with Martha Washington. That's Mount Vernon on the reverse, if you'll notice. Isn't that spectacular?
Yes.
And so you're going to have that. They struck this coin to test the composition. That's what this is. This is the Judd, it's a 2185 is the Judd number. They determine all the different patterns ever made by the United States government, where they strike a coin just kind of testing to see whether it can be a coin. Okay. And this is the composition of this particular coin, which is 77% copper, 20% zinc, and 3% nickel. Okay, so they did that one. I'm going to show you one here in a minute that's not, and it's N and N because they just very crudely, if you can see, just took dots and just kind of put them on the coin because it's a test coin, it's a pattern coin. Yeah. An error is kind of the wrong word for this. The United States government has got a significant and long history of making pattern coins. In other words, making a coin to test either the design of a coin, a composition of a coin. Like they have Morgan dollars that they made in copper. They have coins they made in aluminum back in those days, and it's something that I tend to collect. And many of those old patterns run into the tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars that you can do this. This is the modern pattern that they use, is they put Martha Washington, put the 1757 date on there, but this is a 1999 coin that was testing the pattern for the Sacagawea golden dollar. Now, they weren't testing the pattern in this particular one. That's why they put Martha Washington. It's called a pattern coin because they were testing something. In this instance, they were testing the final composition. So it's this test coin that comes right from the United States government. Now, that does not make that any less of a coin. I've seen this only come to sale one other time in the past. Wow. They had a couple of these at auction, and as you can see right there, it says Mount Vernon. Isn't that incredible? On the reverse of this actual United States coin. This makes this, in essence, the rarest modern issue coin made by the United States government probably in the last 100 years or so, with less than 3 dozen of these. Oh my gosh. The only thing rarer than this would be some of the, what they call mules. They struck one of these accidentally on a quarter planchet. It sold for like 100 grand or something like that. And so you have this. So this one is the non-manganese version. That's not what they ended up going with. So this composition, they tested this, and then what they do is they look to see if it tarnishes, how it strikes. That's why they did all this and all of those kind of interesting things. And so they put this out there. They ended up not using this composition. Okay. This was 7723. They ended up not using this composition of this coin, and as you can see, isn't that crazy? And they put Virginia on the coin, kind of an original Virginia coin, 1759. Isn't that spectacular with the Martha Washington on there? And so this is something, and you had asked me before the show, how many times have we sold pattern coins? To my recollection, this might be the first time, if it's not, it's the second time. Maybe 10 or almost 15 years ago, I brought in a schoolgirl Morgan pattern. It would have been $30,000 or $40,000 or $50,000, something like that, somewhere right around in there. I would have had that coin. But if it wasn't, if I didn't, and maybe I didn't, I could be remembering that, misremembering that. If not, this would be only the first pattern coin that I ever brought out here. And the reason is because they are so phenomenally, incredibly rare. They are almost never offered for sale. For us to have a few of these to sell is an absolutely a virtually unique event. There's no other place that I know of that you can, in essence, go and buy these coins. There was one or two sold at auction for more money than $26.99.95. I can promise you that. When you're looking at a coin with a population of, you know, we're probably looking at, there might be 24 of these coins in existence, roughly, is what there is. So when we talk about rare mintages, I mean, coins like the 1995 W, American 10th anniversary Silver Eagle, that coin in high grade is $10,000 or $15,000. They made 31,000 of those. This coin is literally 1,000 times rarer than that coin.
My
so if you look at any coins of any significant rarity, that the United States government has made, none of them match this rarity. And they would all be more than the $2,699.95. I love the fact that this one is the composition that they didn't use. I love that little, the N and N means non-manganese.
Okay.
Okay, so there's no manganese in this particular one that you have there, and they just kind of lettered that on there because it was a test. And when they do these rarely get out and made available. These rarely get into, in essence, circulation.
That's right.
Where they're even available in any way, shape, or form. The fact of the matter is I've got a literal handful of these. In Mint State 65 certified NGC. The J2185 there refers to the Judd number.
Okay.
There's a catalog called the Judd catalog that catalogs all of the United States patterns and then ranks them by rarity. It's an R scale from R1 to R9, basically. R9 means it's unique. In other words, there's one coin and one coin only. And then R8. This was rated in Judd an R7, which is, like I said, fewer than a dozen. I know that there's a few more than that. So I think they will eventually make that adjustment in the Judd catalog to make this an R6 or maybe even a high R5, because they rate them low R5, medium R5, high R5s, and I think this will probably be a low R5 or a high R6 at the end of the day in terms of rarity, in terms of collectability, in terms of desirability. I'm expecting this to be the one and only time I'll be able to offer this. Once again, this is a United States government issue coin. They were just testing this, and for you to be able to have an opportunity to own this phenomenal piece of mint history is something that I'm really excited to be able to bring this and offer this to anybody that's out there. There's only been a couple of these offered at auction, and like I said, $2,699 wouldn't have bought it at that auction. So the fact that I have this coin, I just bought it at the big Florida United Numismatist show that was down in Florida, obviously, and the guy had a few of these, and I said, yeah, I'll just take them all. Very cool, because at the end of the day, if I don't sell the handful that I have, I'm very happy to put them in my collection, because that's what I collect as pattern coins.
And many times when Mike says, I'll take them all, he's literally backing up a semi-truck to take them all. He didn't have to do that this time because there are so few of them to begin with. Now, we wanted to share this with you. It's the first